evening. We'd like to call to order the City of Hammond Plan Commission meeting of June 25th, 2024. Our first order of business is a pledge of allegiance. All rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Roger Brock,
Here.
Dean Budden, Michael Dye, Ronald Sims,
Here.
William Hutton,
Here.
Thomas Kazmierzak,
Here.
Dan Spitali,
Here.
Thomas Daverton,
Yes.
Marcus Taylor.
Here.
7 present, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Our next item of business, is there a motion on the floor to approve the minutes for May 20th, 2024?
So moved. Second.
Thank you, and thank you. Roll call vote?
Roger Brock.
Yes.
Ronald Sims,
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak,
Yes.
Dan Spitali,
Yes.
Thomas Daverton,
Yes.
Marcus Taylor,
Yes.
William Hutton.
Yes?
7 ayes, 0 nays, motion passed.
Thank you very much. Mr. Poland, is there any old business?
There is no old business.
Moving on to new business. Case number CP-24-06, the petition of Swanell Incorporated and Highland Street LLC for a 2-lot subdivision known as Lil's Addition to the City of Hammond in an I-1 industrial district located at 712 Highland Street and 6044 Erie Avenue within the City of Hammond. Madam Secretary, have all notifications been met?
Yes, they have.
Thank you. Mr. Petitioner, did you sign in? Please. If you could, please state your name and address.
Zach Obringer, 812 Garfield Street, Hobart, Indiana.
Thank you. Continue.
I'm here representing Highland Street LLC and Swanell Beverage in the 2-lot subdivision we're calling Lil's Addition. This subdivision will memorialize a transfer of land that has taken place earlier this year in March between Swanell Beverage and Highland Street LLC. That parcel, I believe, is labeled A2 on the plat in front of you. With that, I'll open up the questions.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, do you have any questions, comments? Mr. Poland?
The Lil's Addition is incorporating one lot from a previous subdivision that the Planning Commission approved at the last meeting. And in that lot, there were changes to, a NIPSCO easement was added, and then there was an access easement. So for the record, are any of those easements being changed by this plat?
No, there's no change.
Okay.
Just in case.
Could you state your name and your address for the record, please?
Moore, News Engineering.
Okay. So, Mr. Moore, I think we've had conversations that there still is an issue of potentially changing the way the trucks leave the property and may or may not use this access easement that has been put on the plat?
That is correct. We're going to try to give, right now, we have an easement that'll go across the backside of the existing Swanell property and allow people to exit out onto Erie. And we're going to give it a try if we can, because in order to do that, it's going to take a significant amount of asphalt to pave the area to get the trucks out the back. We're going to try for the early portion of the project to get the trucks to go back out the exact way that they're going now. If that works, then we're going to just utilize that existing configuration. If it doesn't work, then we're going to put in a driveway to get around the backside of Swanell as it's shown on the plat with the easement.
Okay, so even with the current, if you are able to, if the traffic is able to traverse the property under its currently way it's doing, it still is going to be in a portion of the easement that's been created on this plat.
Correct.
Okay, it's just the part that wraps around the property is uncertain at this point.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Bolin. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
At this time, we'd like to open up this meeting to the general public. Is there anybody in the public that would like to speak? If you would, please step forward, sign in. Please.
I own the property at 716.
I'm sorry, can you state your name and your address for the
Dennis
record?
Taylor, 716 Highland Street. I own the property at 716 Highland Street. I want to know how this is going to affect the drainage on the alley, which is a up-and-coming and problem that I've had for 10 years now that nobody has come to correct, fix, or adjust. Where all the runoff from all this asphalt and Swanell is going to go, and the alley between the new proposed Swanell addition and 716 Highland Street, there's always a 6-foot by 25 to 30-foot pool of water that's 6 inches deep that never goes away, or unless we don't get any rain for a month, and then it goes away. It doesn't drain to the street. Supposedly, in the last meeting that they had here, they were going to put up a berm. I want to know if that's still going to happen, supposedly with trees and so on and so forth between the 716 Highland Street property and the new proposed addition. I want to know what the parking, like where the parking is going to be coming from, if they're going to be utilizing the alley that goes between 716 Highland and the new Swanell, as far as in and out traffic. The alley's already being overused by all the school traffic that has come to a point where you can't even get a parking space between 8 o'clock in the morning and 2:30 in the afternoon, where the school teachers, janitors, and whoever park continuously on Highland Street in front of Swanell and in front of 716, 718, and 720. They park there all the time. They have their own designated parking that that the city and me and whoever else is paying for, but they won't utilize. There's 8 people, which I have brought this up to City of Hammond and the principal and the guy that's supposed to direct. His name evades me right now. They claim they can't do anything about it. They claim they can't ask the teachers to park in their assigned or parking areas. I've talked to the teachers, and one of them told me I can park anywhere I want to, and pretty much cussed me out, and that was about the end of that. And going around the alley in the back of 720, I have been fighting with the engineers for 10 years on this. They put a French drain in right behind my gate, which is at least 8 to 9 inches lower than the plane of the alley. And whenever it rains, all the water from Swanell and from the alley and the switching station, everything else drains right into the back of 720 Highland Street. And as soon as you walk out of the gate, there's a pool of water that you're either going to fall into or can't avoid. And I've discussed this with the engineers. They keep claiming they're going to fix it. They don't. Just like the 30-foot by 6-foot pool of water that goes up and down the alley bordering 716 Highland Street. And if you pave the whole lot over there for the Swanell, and from what I understand the last time, they might be doing it to 12-hour shifts or 24-hour shifts, where are all these cars going to be coming from, going to, and utilizing the alley, or is the berm going to still be there to border off me at 716 Highland Street, or what's going on? That's what I want to know.
Thank you very much. We'd like to ask if anybody else in the general public has any questions, and then we'll get back. Is there anybody online willing to talk about this project? Is there anybody else in the general public? Anybody else in the general public? We're closing public hearing. Mr. Poland?
I would like to ask the petitioner's representatives to come to the microphone. I would like to say that many of the questions that were presented are questions that are specific to the site plan and the development and are really a separate issue from the subdivision plat in and of itself. I think out of reasonableness, I think we can try and answer some of the technical questions that were brought to our attention. I'm just going to start off with a couple of them and answer them. That we have been looking at the plans for the proposed development for the last several months. It has been submitted for permits, and that do some technical issues separate from the construction. That permit has been approved, but it has not been picked up because they're waiting for some actions to occur over the tax abatement for the project. The berm that was proposed back in 2019 is on the plans. It is as was agreed to through the Board of Zoning Appeals when they will be dealt with the setbacks. I'm not an engineer, but I would like to think that the berm would help some of the drainage going into that particular north-south alley that is adjacent. The parking lot for the employees and the customers are on the bike trail side of the property. They are not adjacent to any of the houses. I can't really speak to the drainage. That's really a question for the city engineer, and unfortunately, the city engineer is not here tonight to help us, but I would then refer this over to Mr. Moore if you can address any of the other technical questions.
The existing drainage that we have out on site is being dealt with, or the proposed drainage is being dealt with. Talking with the city engineer, there's existing sewers in Highland Street that flow east of Calumet Avenue, but as we went through and investigated it, the pipes are sized accordingly, but when we add more impervious surfaces on our property, we were concerned about overburdening the sewers, so we decided on our own goodwill to put in storm sewer detentions. We got 2 detention ponds that are out there. One is on the northwest corner and one is on the east side of the property. On the east side of the property, all the roof drains are going to drain into that detention basin, and then it will slowly drain out to the catch basin on Highland Street. And then after the pond, then you'll have the berm. So none of the water from our property will be going into the alley.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I think he asked a question about the shifts and the traffic based on employees.
And have we figured out the shifts that we're running right now? Are you doing 12-hour shifts or We haven't figured that out yet. What's that? Only if you want to.
Yes, and if you would state your name and address for the record, please.
Sure. Ed Roviero, Swanell Beverage, 6028 Erie in Hammond. Yeah, right now, we're running a shift from 6 in the morning till 3 o'clock. We do that in the summertime just because it's hot out. We do move it to 7 o'clock to 4 in the winter months when it's cooler out, just for the guys to work. Right now, we see no second or third shift. And in the building, right now we have one production line with 2 fillers. We'll have 3 production lines with 6 fillers and a high-speed filler. I don't really see us running a night shift. I'm gonna be honest with you, I probably would like to one day, because that means we're really doing a lot of business. But right now, we don't. And I don't foresee that in the future. We would have to do probably more than 3 times the business we're doing right now to bring that in, so.
Okay, so currently you do have a shift that ends at 3 o'clock, is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, one shift from 6 till 3.
Okay, and that your parking is currently on the Erie Street address, not on the Highland Street address?
No. We park everything, everybody parks, right now they're parking adjacent to the firehouse, the fire department, and they're parking on the Highland Street, about 15 cars on our property, the old Carpenter's Hall. When this is done, there's more than enough parking. Chris would know we added even more parking. Will be on the west side of.
Yeah, and I know, during, since 2019, and then, we have the construction of the high school, and we know that during that time period, the high school's construction crews were parking on 712 Highland
Right.
Street. I think the thing that I would just ask you to kind of consider is that with the parking lot that you have on the west side of the property, which starts to get closer to Soul Avenue intersection there, that if you have your employees departing at 3 o'clock, that's about the time that the high school lets out. And you might want to think about the traffic flow, the pedestrian, maybe talk to the high school and the police department about a crossing guard. That might help control some of that.
I think they get out at 2:30 now, because we're very
Oh,
well
okay.
aware of the high school getting out, because we're like our neighbor here is we're a lot of people, a lot of kids walking, a lot of people on Highland Street waiting to pick up the kids that are
Right.
coming out, or I don't know if they're parking there full time. It's a little bit farther away from us, so I really don't see that too much. But
Well, and I just, the time that I've driven through there and the wandering kids and, they may be out at 2:30, but it might be 2:45 and they finally start crossing at Soul. So
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, just from a practical standpoint, just something you should be cautious about and think
kinda
about.
not,
Yeah.
if it's half an hour or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's, I think it's 2:30, but also while I'm up here is that we do have people parking on Highland Street, let's say in front of Swanell's, it's gonna be the new, right there. I don't know if that is allowed parking. There's no curb there, right, Chris? There's no curb there.
It's a little bit of a curve, but not much.
A little bit of a curb, so maybe we can get some help there one day for a curb, but I'm not sure if that's a parking allowed Highland on the south side, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
sure.
So anyway, Mr. Vice President, as I indicated before we started this conversation, is that a lot of this discussion that we just had is separate from the subdivision plat that is before the Plan Commission tonight. And if there aren't any questions specific to the plat, all of these questions that we've tried to address from the site plan and the drainage, I think we've kind of gone far afield a little bit, and I think we've tried to accommodate that out of respect for the the comments coming from the demonstrator. But I would encourage the Plan Commission to kind of go back into the actions that are before it tonight, which is the approval of the subdivision plat in and of itself, not the site plan.
Thank you, Mr. Poland. Gentlemen, thank you. Back on track. Commissioners, do you have any comments, questions, et cetera, regarding the presentation by the petitioner? Mr. Poland, would you like to read
I'd like to
your staff recommendation?
I would like to present the staff report by
Thank you.
saying that the subdivision plat was sent out for agency review. We did not get all the responses back. The NIPSCO, and this is even similar to when we did the previous subdivision on this property, NIPSCO is not responding other than the fact that we know that the modification to the utility easement was approved through their process. No other objections were given from any of the responders. Staff's opinion is that the plat meets the requirements set forth in the subdivision control ordinance and recommends for preliminary and final approval of the subdivision plat, subject to technical corrections and resolutions of any changes to the access easement, which we have now determined that there probably won't be any changes to the access easement. And then we'll do a final review on the technical corrections. If the Plan Commission agrees with the staff report, it is requested that the staff report is adopted as findings of fact.
Thank you, Mr. Poland. Commissioners, any questions or comments regarding the staff report? Hearing none, we'd like to move ahead. Is there a motion on the floor for a favorable, unfavorable? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, for plat, you are doing preliminary and final approval, not a recommendation.
Okay. Is there a motion on the floor?
Mr. Vice President,
Yes.
I move for preliminary and final approval of the subdivision plat, subject to the technical corrections and resolution of any changes to the access easement.
Thank you. Second? Thank you. Roll call vote?
Roger Brock?
Yes.
Ronald Sims?
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak?
Yes.
Dan Spitali?
Yes.
Thomas Davenport?
Yes.
Marcus Taylor?
Sorry, yes.
William Hutton?
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays, motion passed.
Thank you.
Mr. Vice President,
Yes.
I also move that the staff report is adopted as a finding of fact.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Roger Brock?
Yes.
Ronald Sims?
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak?
Yes.
Dan Spitali? Thomas Davenport?
Yes.
Marcus Taylor?
Yes.
William Hutton?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays, motion passed.
Thank you very much. Mr. Poland, is there any correspondence?
No correspondence.
Thank you. Any commissioners' comments? Any staff comments?
First of all, I want to thank everybody for making the adjustment on the June Plan Commission meeting due to a technical hiccup. And that at this, I would say that we will, unless something unexpected and unforeseen, I would say that we are not going to have a July Plan Commission meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Poland. Any public comments? Is there a motion on the floor for adjournment?
Move to adjourn.
Thank you.
A second.
Second one's over here.
Thank you. Have a good night.